Chick. All right, so it is a random Saturday in the middle of October, so that means it's Fleet Week. Last time I shot Fleet Week, this photo crazy. Look at that. Oh, my boy Sergio was cold. Last time I was at Fleet Week, I shot the SL. That was probably 2 years ago, a year ago, somewhere in there. Shot the SL, I shot a 50 mil. That was cool, but today we're probably gonna end up on the M10 Mono and probably shoot a bunch of 35 mil. So that's the lens I've been rocking for the past couple weeks. Me and 35 mil have been having fun, so I'm just gonna keep riding that wave, you know? Been shooting a lot of flash with it, so probably use that a bit today. And I don't know, there's no real expectations. It's just not trying to shoot a whole bunch of people looking up in the sky and shit like that. But if that happens, it happens. I don't know, we'll see. At the end of the day, we're just gonna have fun, just go see what's outside. Chasing the birds. We got the kids playing. We got my OG right here with the white and the fedora on. Almost. Line up. Let's go on a line up. I have faith in it right now. This year felt a little different. It's not as crowded as it was last year, but I mean, I didn't look at a schedule neither, so maybe I'm a bit early. Maybe things are happening a little later. Also, too, since the government shut down, the Blue Angels aren't performing, flying, whatever you want to call it. So Canadian Air Force stepped in to fill the void, so maybe that has something to do with it, but you know, well, I'm gonna keep shooting. I don't feel like there's too much more going on out of the ordinary, but that's what I kind of get for having expectations. So we're gonna try to finish up the day. I mean, we're gonna hang out as long as we can today and see what happens. I was going through the day, it was dawning on me that there wasn't too many photos that I really cared about until I got to the last frame of the day, which was the frame of the kid with the shadow in the car and their girl in the background sitting behind the car. I was excited for that photo because there was a bunch of elements that I really felt worked and things that I'm just drawn to. But I finally get to looking at the images and the photo's blurry. Technically, I mean, probably what happened was the flash wasn't strong enough and I wasn't close enough to freeze a motion, or the flash didn't go off. I can't really remember, but I know that my shutter speed was right around the 60th or 125th of a second, which, moving as fast as I was to try to catch the scene, wasn't fast enough to freeze a motion. That was probably the only frame I was truly excited to see. Initially, I was about to disregard it because it wasn't sharp. And I knew that I made a photo right after that I know I wasn't walking and I was able to plant my feet and fire the frame. So I knew that was sharp, but it wasn't as interesting to me personally as the other friend. I was feeling two ways about it. On one hand, I was content with just the information and the composition and how I was able to arrange the frame. I enjoyed the shadow play. I enjoyed the figures. I enjoyed me interjecting my shadow into the frame because I've always enjoyed photos with photographers do that, like Lee Freelander, for example, and many others, where you could see the actual photographer's shadow in the frame and you are aware of their presence through just some abstraction or obscurity is happening in the frame, right? Either it's a reflection, a shadow, maybe their hand or foot is in the frame, like Kudelka's photo of his watch in Prague, 1968. Yeah, 1968, right? Like those photos have always been cool to me because it's like, yes, it's a photo, but now this photographer's personality is injected into real life. Also, too, I was pissed because it wasn't sharp. I was peeved, yo. I was really peeved for a bit. So, but I gave it a couple days, and there was this quote from Bryson that kind of came to top of mind, is that sharpness is a bourgeois concept. I got to thinking about how many of my favorite photos I've seen, or how many photos I've seen, and I was like, these are amazing photos, and they weren't sharp. Either they was slightly off focus, or the photographer probably did the same thing I did, where they was moving too fast or the flash didn't go off. There's this photo in the original copy of Haiti from Bruce Gilden, the very first copy, the big joint, right? Where the last frame is this portrait of this guy with a hat, and it appears as if the flash didn't go off. So he's shooting at probably a 60th of a second, flash didn't goes off, and it's this man grinning to camera. And that photo is probably one of the photos that sticks out to me in that project the most. So I said, you know what? I don't think the screen is helping either, because I'm editing on a 5K iMac with a billion trillion pixels, and photos need to get off the screen because we pixel people all the time. So I was like, let me print the photo and see how I feel about it. And I ended up printing the photo 2 times. I printed a photo a bit smaller. I printed the photo at one size. It was around 6 by 9 inches, and that checked out. Then I printed the photo a little bigger at about 8 by 12. And at a standard viewing distance and not your face all into the screen or the paper like this or some shit like that. It didn't matter if the photo was sharp or not. It was legible at the end of the day. I was able to see all the information. I could see all the important information, I would say. And at that point, it made me really think about how often we are chasing this concept of sharpness and us using the idea of sharpness to say if our photos are good or not good. When at the end of the day, it's about feeling. Is the idea legible? Is it transferable? Do you understand what's going on in the frame, and is the intent that the photographer had? Is there original intent there? And I think if that's the case, then I think who gives a damn about sharpness, especially nowadays? As soon as the lens come out or as soon as we get a new piece of gear, we're always fascinated with how sharp it is or isn't, when it don't matter. It really does not matter. I think the growth for me as a photographer is not in how much technically better I can get. Like, I mean, yes, I will always strive to be better technically and technically proficient in lighting, composition, all these things, right? But how many of us, including myself, is using that as a crutch? How many of us are using the gear or the technology to run away or diminish what's important, which is being able to communicate an idea? And sometimes the ideas don't need to be sharp. Most of the time, the ideas don't need to be sharp. They just need to be legible. So I think that was the biggest learning for me in this video or this time outside, was that I don't have to run to the sharpest frame that I made throughout the day. And I've done that a plethora of times, where I end up skipping over the initial frame that I like, either the composition or the gesture was better or the timing in the moment was better, and I would settle for the frame after or before because it was a frame that was sharp. Now I need to go back and look at a bunch of these photos to see what's going on. For me personally, it's not about making a good photo. It's about learning how to communicate and learning the various ways to communicate through imagery. And if this is another tool on tool belt that I could lean on moving forward or keep practicing on, or I'm able to figure out how to implement this feeling, this look, and how this translates into my images moving further, I think that was better than any image I could have got today, for real. And yeah, that's it for this video, yo. Like, I appreciate y'all for watching. Appreciate y'all for taking the time to listen to me ramble for a bit. If there's anything you agree with or disagree with, let me know in the comments. I'm down for the shenanigans and the dialogue. I'll check y'all in a minute. Until next time, see y'all later.